back, everyone. My name is Patrick. You're watching the Oilers Rundown. Not too much to go over with you guys today, but we did have some trade rumor updates as we get closer to that March 8th trade deadline. I did go over a couple of the updates in yesterday's Fanatic Rundown, but for anybody who didn't hear, Chris Tanev is reportedly garnering a first-round pick, or at least that's what the Calgary Flames would like to get for Chris Tanev at this point. Multiple teams are in on Chris Tanev. Nobody's offering more than a second-round pick at this point. Elliot Friedman mentioning on the 32 Thoughts podcast that the Leafs have put together a combination of draft picks, but obviously nothing has moved the meter yet for Chris Tanev. The Oilers are highly interested in him, but I don't think they want to give up a first-round pick, or does anybody else. I certainly wouldn't give up a first-round pick for Chris Tanev at this point. I think there would have to at least be a couple contracts going back Calgary's way for me to even consider it, and the Flames, I'm sure, don't want to do that. So don't know if this pushes the Oilers further away from Chris Tanev, but sometimes prices do drop as we get closer to the trade deadline and things become clearer. Elliot Friedman mentioning the Vancouver Canucks in particular don't want to see the Oilers land Chris Tanev, so don't know if the Canucks step up to stop that from happening, but I've always thought Edmonton and Calgary didn't really make a lot of sense for a Chris Tanev trade, but we'll see what happens here. Like I said, the Oilers highly interested in Chris Tanev at this point. Another one of their targets, though, may be coming off the board. Sean Walker with the Philadelphia Flyers has been connected to the Edmonton Oilers quite a bit, but apparently the Flyers are now leaning more towards trying to get him signed to a contract. Elliot Friedman mentioned on the 32 Thoughts podcast as well that the Flyers would like to get Walker in the $4 million range. If that happens, they probably keep him, or there also is the possibility that the Flyers keep Sean Walker as their own rental. The Flyers are still in the thick of it. It sounds like Sean Walker may not be going anywhere, and I know I mentioned in the video yesterday there's a lot of people in the camp for Sean Walker. They think he's an upgrade, and a lot of people don't think that Sean Walker is an upgrade at all. So depending on which camp you're in, you might be very happy or a little disappointed with that news. Darren Dreger mentioning on Insider Trading that the Edmonton Oilers continue to look at Anaheim Ducks center Adam Henrique. We talked about him a bit over the past few weeks. He would ideally be coming in as the Oilers' new third-line center. He does have a big price tag, though, so don't know if they can make that one work. But the Oilers are certainly considering Adam Henrique at this point. Darren Dreger also mentioning, Elliot Friedman mentioning on the 32 Thoughts podcast as well, the Oilers are looking for a big swing, whether it's at forward, whether it's at defense. Probably Chris Tanev would be their big swing if he came in on defense, but I think the Oilers would definitely like to add a top six forward on the right side. So I think Adam Henrique would be more of a backup option if that top six right wing target doesn't work out. That's where guys like Jake Gensel and Jordan Eberle have come in. Obviously, Gensel is the bigger player, but with his injury right now that he's dealing with and his future for this season pretty murky at this point. We'll see what happens there, but Jake Gensel obviously still an option for the Oilers. And one final note from Elliot Friedman, he does not think the Edmonton Oilers are in the goaltending market at this point. Stuart Skinner obviously playing very well, and backup Calvin Pickard currently on a 6-game winning streak. So unless something changes there injury-wise for the Edmonton Oilers over the month of February, it looks like Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard will be the Oilers tandem, with either Jack Campbell or Olivier Rodrigue coming in as the third stringer for the playoffs. And lastly, David Pagnotta of the Fourth Period pointing out a couple potential Oilers targets on the San Jose Sharks that he could see the Oilers being linked to. They are forward Luke Kunin, a right winger and a center, so he would obviously be a third or fourth line target for the Edmonton Oilers. And left shot D, Mario Ferraro. Ferraro has 2 years left on his deal after this one at $3.25 million, and Luke Kunin is a pending RFA. So that is the latest on the trade rumor front, but Elliot Friedman also bringing up the name Mark Hunter again as a possible future general manager for the Edmonton Oilers. I did a little video on Hunter back on the weekend. The Columbus Blue Jackets are another team that are believed to be interested in bringing in Mark Hunter as their next general manager, so we'll have to see what happens with Columbus as they could potentially act before the Edmonton Oilers, as we don't have a 100% guarantee on whether or not Ken Holland is coming back or not. We believe he's retiring, and if he does indeed retire, Mark Hunter is a potential replacement for him. Hunter is presently the owner and general manager of the OHL's London Knights and was previously the assistant general manager for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's all the latest, guys, so let me know your thoughts on those potential targets. Do you think Mark Hunter is a good bet to come in as the next general manager of the Edmonton Oilers? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If this is your first visit to the channel and you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing for all the latest Oilers content. You've been watching the Oilers Fanatic. Thanks for being a fan.